Hiya, teacher friends! Today I'm going to tell you about 3 speaking activities which I bet most of you have never used with your students. So hit the subscribe button and let's dive in. First of all, I want to tell all of you that I have tried these activities with my iTalki students and I've gotten great feedback. Not only have they enjoyed these activities, but they have also helped improve my students' speaking skills. Plus, it just adds a little bit more life and color to the lesson so that your students could come to class, engage, and leave class satisfied. And one more thing, these activities could be used by professional teachers or community tutors, which is great because you could use these students with your conversational English classes or general English classes, or hey, even test preparation classes. All right, let's dive in. So the first activity I would like to talk about is ironically called 4-3-2. So this is a fluency building activity, and by the way, as I said, you could feel free to use this with your IELTS students as well, particularly if they're lacking in the fluency department. So here's what you do. You give your students a prompt. It could be explain your weekend, it could be tell me about your favorite restaurant, you could find a prompt from IELTS Part 2, or you could just imagine a little prompt that could get your students to speak for a couple minutes just as a presentation, something to warm up for the topic of discussion for that class. So basically what you do, you give them the prompt. They prepare for maybe 1 minute, they write down some notes as you do, and then after that you allow them to speak for a set period of time. Let's say that they'll be speaking for 2 minutes, just to keep things on the straight and narrow. So 2 minutes. After that, you tell them that they will be speaking again, but this time in 75% of the time. So that means it won't be 2 minutes, it will be 90 seconds. So they've already kind of gone through the whole 9 yards. They know the information that they would like to share with you, but this time they have to condense it into a smaller space of time, right? They go through that again. And then one more time for the final round, you get them to recite what they just said, but this time in 50% of the original time. So that would be 1 minute. So they took what they said in 2 minutes and they condensed it to 1 minute. And this is a great fluency building activity. I would strongly suggest that you do this with your students who you have taught for a couple lessons already, just in case if there are any confidence issues or affective issues. But this could be a great activity to get your students improving their fluency. And that's why I call it 4-3-2. And on to activity 2. For this second activity, this is just changing the first person to the third person, or changing the present to the past. Basically, you give your student a prompt. It works best if it is a story or something that could be used in the third person or tailored to be in the past. So for example, you could ask your student to tell you about maybe a restaurant that they like to go to, right? So they'll tell you about the restaurant. They'll probably tell it to you in the present simple. They'll say, I really like going to, let's say Eastside Mario's because I get to go there and order lasagna. I love the lasagna, it's fantastic. Then get them to say the whole story again, but this time in the third person. It will really help improve their grammar skills. So Ryan really likes Eastside Mario's. He enjoys going there and eating lasagna. You could even get them to tailor it for the past or change tenses. So last year, Ryan enjoyed going to Eastside Mario's. He used to eat lasagna all the time there. See, so we're playing with the tenses, we're playing with the conjugation, and this could be a good way to help your students improve their grammatical skills, especially while telling personal anecdotes. Activity 3, explain a yoga pose. This sounds easy, but it's actually quite difficult, even for native speakers. So this will be a tricky one for a lot of your students, but it could be fun. If it's tricky, just give them some vocabulary beforehand so that they're exposed to some of the words that they'll be able to use in the actual monologue. And it is what it is. You give them a list of pictures of different yoga poses, tell them to choose their favorite one or choose the one like their go-to pose or maybe the most difficult pose if you want it to be a difficult activity, and then get them to explain it to you. What I do, I always give my students some time for preparation. That gives you a couple minutes to grab a tea or to drink some coffee or get your notes prepared if you need to, right? But more importantly, it gives your student some time to prepare, right? So give your student a couple minutes to prepare and then to give a monologue explaining that yoga pose. This activity should particularly target your students' grammatical knowledge, especially with regards to prepositions, tricky prepositions, a little bit with adverbs if you're using forwards, backwards, sideways, and with vocabulary, of course, as well. So I suggest that for this activity, you don't kind of hone in on the speed of your student's speech and their fluency per se, but maybe focus a little bit more on just their vocabulary and their grammatical range. Okay, and that is it. Thank you very much for watching. Remember to subscribe. If you would like access to 20 speaking activities, then head on over to my Patreon account. By becoming a patron, you could enjoy dozens of resources for as little as $1 USD per month. All you have to do is click to become a patron right here, and you could make a custom pledge for as little as $1 per month. Otherwise, you could choose to join for unlimited access to all of the resources which I have on my account. And that includes weekly uploads of syllabi and different activities and teaching resources to help you be a fantastic teacher on iTalki or whichever platform you teach on. I would like to say that your support truly helps me to help you and to help the community here on iTalki. So thank you very much for your support. And that is a wrap. As always, thank you so much for the support, and until next time, keep smiling.